My 16F boyfriends, 17M friends make me uncomfortable. When my boyfriend wants to hang out, his friends are always around. His friends think it's okay to touch and slap my ass. They even try to kiss me on my neck, cheek and lips. They'll try to sit me on their laps, and when I try to get back they just sit me back down. My boyfriend just laughs. He thinks it's funny. After they all leave, my boyfriend is like, chill, they're just having fun. It makes me feel uncomfortable enough being alone with all guys, and this is just making it worse. This is the kind of behavior that could lead to gang rape. Definitely dump BF's ass. He sounds like the perfect enabler of abuse. This is sadly the exact thought I had reading this. Girl, run. Leave him immediately. He's a shitty person. His friends are shitty people for allowing and encouraging sexual harassment. He sounds like a douchebag. He obviously has very little, if any, respect for you. If my buddies tried that with my girlfriend, then they'd be picking up their teeth and finding a new friend after they got let out of jail for sexual assault. They're gross and you should assert yourself here. Groups of guys that age can be enormous shitheads and try to make you feel like you should accept it. You shouldn't. Tell your boyfriend you won't be around those guys if they won't stop sexually harassing you, and he is too much of a coward to stand up to them. Honestly, your boyfriend is probably a trash bag himself. With that response, in your teens it can be hard to tell if it is their overall personality or friend influence, but in the end it amounts to the same. He would sell you out for them. Guy here. 100% of the things that are going on here are wrong. Your boyfriend and his friends are douchebags, and what they're doing is not okay. This is sexual harassment. You need to get away from these people. Behavior of this sort is only going to get worse. Stay safe and take care. My girlfriend, 20F, put me, 19F, in an uncomfortable position with her family and then made me feel bad about it despite being aware of prior trauma, and now she's treating me like I'm overreacting. Am I? Trigger warnings for sexual assaults and parent death, no graphic descriptions, not sure how to do spoiler tags on mobile, sorry. Long story short, I was adopted by my dad, the best person on earth, from foster care when I was 9. When I was 14, we were in a car accident. Basically I was able to get out, but I couldn't get him out, and we were on a rural road, so it took a long time for emergency services to come out, and he died while we were waiting for the ambulance. Then I spent 2 years in a foster home where I was sexually abused by the man, until I left when I was 16. I met my girlfriend after I'd been on my own for a year, and we've been together for almost 2 years. She knows all of my history and is normally really understanding when I have a hard time. Side note, not in any therapy, although I try to do some mindfulness stuff whenever possible. It's a monetary issue. Things are hard right now as is. So in the almost 2 years we've been together, I've been hesitant about getting together with her parents for long stretches because I just don't do well with men in general. I've met them a couple times, but we've never really hung out. Side note, she was pregnant when we first met. The baby's dad opted not to be involved in the baby's life, but we've raised him together. It was our son's birthday last week though, and they wanted us to come over for dinner tonight, so I decided to be an adult about it and go. It was super uncomfortable. Her dad is nice, but he reminded me a lot of my dad, and it triggered a lot of anxiety, and I couldn't really interact with him. In the car I basically just started crying as soon as I got in. We were about halfway home when she goes, "Look, I don't even know how to say this, but my parents were upset because you wouldn't talk to my dad and they think you're one of those lesbians who have a problem with men." I didn't even know how to respond to it at first, and then I finally just was like, "I mean, I feel like you kind of know that I do. My dad isn't going to hurt you." I never said he was. He reminded me of my dad and it made me sad. We argued about it a little more and she basically told me I was overreacting and I needed to get over it. I ended up having a huge panic attack / meltdown over it when we got home, and she's still mad / went to bed with no resolution, and I'm laying awake still thinking about it. The too long didn't read. I had a hard time / avoided communicating living with my girlfriend's dad because of trauma. My GF knows about this and still treated me like I was overreacting. We fought about it and I don't know how to resolve it. Any/all advice is appreciated. I don't really know how to proceed from here/how to move forward in the future other than to just literally never interact with her dad ever again. Edit. Couple of things. My title is not very fair to my girlfriend. I wrote it when I was upset. Thank you everyone who offered resources. I really appreciate them. We live in a rural area in the middle of nowhere state, so finding resources I hadn't exhausted and that were affordable can be tough, and it was really helpful. I talked to my girlfriend, and apologized, and we're going to write a letter to her parents. I'm going to write, she's just going to help because she knows them better than I do. She knows I didn't mean to be rude, and she didn't mean to be frustrated. Hopefully that will help them understand me and help us build a relationship. You need to have a long and serious conversation about this with your GF. She may know about your trauma and your past, but she may find it hard to empathize and understand. Let her know how the whole ordeal made you feel and how it affected you, and also let her know that her response wasn't apt and she wasn't being understanding at all. Has she always been like this, or was it just with his incident? Your GF obviously lost a bit of empathy for you because the issue was about her own parents. When things cool down tomorrow, you could talk to her about it. Tell her that you would want nothing more than to be able to have a great relationship with her parents, but that in that moment, some old memories and emotions just overwhelmed you. It might be good for your GF to inform her parents about your past, if you would be okay with that. That way, they'll understand that it isn't something personal, that you just experienced trauma and have a difficult time getting over it. Now they're just oblivious to all of it and can't show empathy when they feel ignored/disrespected. There are two things to consider here. One is short-term, the argument with your girlfriend, and one is long-term, your issues with being around men. Your girlfriend reacted very poorly and unsupportive, so you have every right to be upset. When things calm down, have a long and serious conversation with her about how you felt and why you would have wished that she was more understanding. But underneath all that, she does have kind of a point. It's neither her nor her dad's fault what happened to you, as horrible as your trauma is. And while you certainly don't owe them anything, I think it would be a good idea to try to address your issues with professional help so that you can heal and overcome it. Your behavior and attitudes will have an influence on the child you're raising, so I think it would be worthwhile to consider therapy. You can try to just avoid all interactions with men for the rest of your days, but considering the fact that you're raising a son, that approach will run into a wall rather sooner than later. I wish you all the best. This up right here. As the son gets older, you may be faced with more men-related issues or figures such as his teacher, his friends, etc. And it certainly won't be the last time you have to meet your partner's father. A bubble will only last so long before it pops. I know it's difficult, especially with a child involved, but is there no way for you to find some money for some kind of mental health services? This is all way above Reddit's or your girlfriend's pay grade, and the longer you leave your wounds to fester, the worse they'll get. Trust me, I know. Mill wants kids. I don't. How do I tell her? Update: we got home from work and we sat down and talked to my Mill. She was said that's fine and it's not any of her business anyway. She said if it happens it happens and if not then it doesn't. Throw away since my hubby has read it and while I love him I think he's too close to the situation. I've, 23F, been married to my sweet, amazing husband, 25M, for 3 years. We've been together for a total of 5 years and we currently live with his family, Mill, Phil and Sil. They are amazing and loving people, which might be why I'm struggling a bit with this since I'd hate to upset my Mill. My Mill sometimes talks about my husband and I having kids. She only makes small comments though, so there's never been a conversation about it. Whenever she makes those comments I just stay silent because I don't know what to do. I don't want children and I never have. It may be relevant to say my husband doesn't care about having kids. We've had many conversations because obviously if he does as much as it'd hurt hurt. I want him to be able to find someone to have children with. But he's very set on just spending our lives together, so I'm thankful for that. Anyway, ignoring my rambling, my Mill wants grandkids and I don't want kids. I'm unsure how to go about this. I should also note she had a hard time having her 2 children and she wasn't expected to have any at all. If anyone needs more information, just comment and I'd be more than happy to provide the information I can. Don't stay silent next time. If she comments something about you having kids, just smile and politely tell her that you aren't going to have any kids. If she questions you, just let her know that you just aren't going to have kids. You don't need to lie, but you also don't need to tell her the reason. If she pushes for a reason, tell her it's private and leave it at that. Most likely she will understand. If not, she's not as great of a person as you thought. I know I should say something, I'm just terribly afraid of causing problems, but you're completely right. Tell her to adopt kids if she wants them. The physical, mental and emotional trauma of having kids isn't worth it if you don't want them. Kids are a huge sacrifice. I know the sacrifices it takes to have kids and a lot of what goes into it, and I'm just not willing to do. I'd also rather not say that because it does sound a little rude and I wouldn't want to be rude towards. Sorry. Mill doesn't get a vote here. Why is this even a topic? If you don't want kids and your husband doesn't want kids, then you don't have kids. Here's what you do. You say, Mill, we aren't planning to have kids. Period. You don't jade, justify, argue, defend or explain, because we don't want to is all the reason you need. How much longer are you two planning to continue living with his family? It's a bit unsure. Isil, 31F, still lives there. Everyone just lives together and no one has a problem. We're all really happy together and there's heaps of space. I would like to have our own place, but I'm also happy here. It's pretty typical behavior for a parent, to be honest. I've seen some comments saying that she's selfish and I don't agree. Based on what you said, it sounds like she doesn't even know you don't want children. Selfish would be to know and still ask for grandchildren. She will know one way or another, right? It's best if she doesn't live with the expectation that you're planning to have kids until time disappoints her. Old age can be boring for people and some are solving that with raising grandchildren. It'll disappointed her anyway, but it's more respectful to her if she finds out sooner. I would say your husband should be leading the discussion and you should make it clear that you both don't want children equally, even if that's not completely true. She doesn't know I don't want kids and you're right, we need to have that discussion and it's better sooner than later.